Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to welcome you to our today's presentation, business strategy presentation on Huawei. In this presentation we'll be going through Huawei's strategic position and issues by employing theoretical frameworks and models. Let me start with the introduction of the company. The company was incorporated in 1987 in China as a telecom network service provider. By the years, company expanded as a brand, as a smartphone handset brand and the telecom network and the router providers for businesses and enterprises. The main mission statement of the company and the brand philosophy is to deliver digital to every single human being in the world and stay connected and create intelligent worlds. Strategic positioning and challenge. Huawei is expected to surpass their main competitors and the market leaders, Apple and Samsung, by 2050. But now the company's main focus is on expansion, and it is done by mergers and acquisitions through Eastern Europe, Africa, and South America. Huawei's the current market share of Huawei is 16%, which is much higher than the already established brands like Nokia, Lenovo, and ZTEs. They operate in highly competitive market. Smartphone industry is highly competitive and it's highly innovative. The Huawei's main driver of the market share was their staying competitive and their ability to come up with the innovation.
So I'm going to talk about external environment analysis for Huawei. First one is pastel. So the political factors have some implications on external environment of Huawei. Like Huawei has been over the years been accused of in being in a close affiliation with Chinese government, and then financial support from state-owned banks. Like in economical factors, volatility of local currency RMB. Like it has been observed in the last week that Chinese currency dropped by 7%. And Chinese economy is an essential contributor to the increase in smartphone sales, like the leverage they provide to the tech manufacturers, and the largest telecom equipment manufacturer in China. And when it comes to social factors, issue of data security of its customers in overseas market, like in Australia, Canada, and the barriers that they have been implemented on Huawei just because of security issues of its users. And it is quite prevalent in the world on large scale that the perception they adopt among its consumers is very bad, and growing concern about security. And furthermore, when it comes to technological factors, Huawei has over the years been in joint ventures with Nokia and Ericsson and Siemens and Japan's NFC and Matsushita. And Huawei has also invested more than $370 million of US dollars in wideband CDMA technologies. And when it comes to legal factors, like when Trump administration came into power, they prevailed anti-NAFTA rhetoric in the global community. So it can help Huawei to expand its market into America and Pan-Pacific regions, and comprehensive and progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership (CPTPP). It can help Huawei through legal channels to penetrate its market further into Australia, Canada, and the Latin American countries. And concerns about China's national intelligence law have sparked the EU, like it already has been into the news that Huawei has not been performing good with the security, and now the legislations that Chinese government have brought into implementations, it can also get Huawei into further legal complications. And And last but not least, environmental factors. Huawei has been so much concerned about protocols of UN Sustainable Development Goals and strengthened cooperation between China, United Nations Environmental Program has some implications on Huawei's manufacturing process, so that they will have to abide by more further stricter laws that in their production channel. So furthermore, when it comes to Porter's analysis of Huawei, first one that comes into mind is bargaining power of buyers. It's high for Huawei because of its similar products, but it's difficult for its customers to switch from high-end Apple lavish products to Huawei ones which are a bit lesser in price. And furthermore, when it comes to bargaining power of suppliers, it's a bit lower for Huawei. A few manufacturers in technology industry like Intel AMD and MediaTek that supply processors for Huawei, and they help them throughout their manufacturing process. And Huawei has started producing their own processors like Kirin 970 that just help them a bit with lower bargaining power for its suppliers. Furthermore, when it comes to competitive rivalry in the market, it's high for Huawei because of low switching costs and emerging domestic companies, and there is a big threat for Samsung and Apple. And when it comes to threat of substitutes in the market, it's very low for Huawei, and not many products that can offer the same usage and convenience offered by the telecom equipment industry. Like, it is a bit difficult for customers to switch from mobiles to some other substitutes that can help them in daily life. And when it comes to threat of new entrants, it is relatively low in tech industry because it asks for a big capital investment and highly skilled labor is required for it, and time to compete with existing technological companies. That's it from external environment analysis.
Hi, I'm going to keep on with the internal environment analysis. It's based on value chain analysis and VRIO analysis of the frameworks and models. Our value chain analysis is based on the operations and marketing sales. These sectors are found to be the most valuable to the company's existence. Huawei has got the aggressive investment in research and development to come up with innovative products, and they've got competitive pricing strategy. As they're based in the China, they can provide 30% lower cost than the established suppliers. A product portfolio is Huawei has got the quite diverse product portfolio and customer base. The breakdown of the revenue shows their diversity. 59% of the revenue comes from the carrier network and the service providers. 33% comes from handset smartphone business, and 7% from the enterprise business group. Marketing, Huawei adopted a new dual brand and dual channel strategy to embrace the online sales, and they were able to drive down the distribution cost by internet sales, and they were able to boost their sales up to 80% by their online product offerings. Resource and capabilities, human resources. It is one of the it is part of the VRIO analysis. The human resources are highly valuable in the company because they invest quite a lot of money to trainings, and they cooperate with the universities. They establish 45 training centers and 31 joint innovation centers and 16 research laboratories and departments in all around the world. And it requires a lot of capital to imitate it. Physical resources. Software development center is they've got new software development center in Silicon Valley. It is also it needs also billion-dollar investments to imitate it. It is also one of the valuable contributor to the Huawei's competitive strategy. Financial resources. These financial resources are generated through years of operations and the financial planning and the revenue flow. So it takes time to imitate it. It is highly valuable, and it has the organization needs robust support to this to run their operations, to generate revenue and have a strong free cash flow to invest in new opportunities. Dynamic capabilities. Huawei was the first one to come up with Android users to sort out their battery life problem. They came up with the new series, or the battery life extended up to the 2 days, and this model was exported to 40 million units in a month's time. The threshold and distinctive capability, reputational sources of the Huawei is now the base of their competitiveness, because despite the bars and the sanctions, the Huawei announced a 19.15% increase in revenue, and it is all by the smartphone sales and the network providers. The Huawei has got the inexpensive labor, access to the inexpensive labor force in China, and they have competitive pricing among their rivals. And I'm going to pass the rest of the presentation to my group mates.
Hello, today I'm going to talk about the Huawei's current strategic issues under the model of ANSOF. ANSOF model is the strategic business tool. It's been utilized by businesses around the globe, which states that there are only two effective approaches for the business to grow, for the business strategy. The first one is the product and market, and the product growth, and the second one is the market growth. So it's got four strategic options. The first one is the market penetration, second one product development, third one is the market development, and fourth one is diversification. I'm going to talk about the market penetration and the market development, which are both related to the Huawei's current strategy. So the first one is the market penetration. This is a strategy in which the company tends to sell its existing products into the existing market, which states that it's a low risk strategy for the company, and so the Huawei has to maintain or increase its current market shares of the current products. The second one is the increase the usage by existing customers, like introducing new schemes to attract the more customers. As Huawei's current market share is 16%, and it is urged to increase it. So this is a low risk strategy. We can help a lot for Huawei to expand and to gain the market share. So the main issues involved. The first one, the issue is the competitive rivalry. Like, it's difficult to beat the market share kings. Like, the first is Apple and second is Samsung. They're holding the most part of the market share, so it's quite difficult. Huawei has to come with a totally different strategy. And effective pressure of different economies around the globe is also an issue that could be faced by the Huawei. Political backlash, like recently we've seen the US government that's raised an issue about the Huawei's security purpose, like it's got some connections, links with the Chinese government, so it's threat to the economy. That's the two main issues in the market penetration. The second one is the market development. That is the selling the existing products to the new markets. This is the strategy which is most effective, but it's got a lot of risk as well. So the Huawei is already working on this strategy by introducing the new motto, the partnering with the local businesses in the emerging markets, by working with the local employees to gain the market share and to boost the economy. So the issues I'm going to talk about the market development are resistance caused due to economical barriers, and which could be most effective as the Huawei is working in the emerging markets, so the many economical barriers. The second one is the effect of cultural complexities that can affect for Huawei to enter into the emerging market. The political effect, like US relationships with the other countries in the emerging markets, like Europe, South America, and different parts in Europe. which can also affect Huawei to gain its access to the emerging markets.
Continuing the current strategic issues, we will talk about the SWOT analysis, and it is a strategic tool which is used to analyze the four major factors of the business, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I will talk about strengths first. And Huawei has the very major strength, which is product innovation, and it has been very consistent during the last couple of years. And its integration of operations, they have very strong brand portfolio, and their cash flow is free and strong. And now I will talk about the weaknesses. And Huawei has been very weak in their product development for some time, but they are trying to improve it. But there's another thing, financial planning, and they have been very poor during in their financial department, and they don't have very good strategies to improve this thing. And they're not very good at product demand forecasting, and they're not leading it. They are planning to compete with Apple, and this thing is not very good. And there are gaps in the product range because of this market. This is a very weak point for Huawei, which will affect to compete with them there, with other competitors. Opportunities. A government green drive, stable free cash flow is going to open a lot of opportunities to dominate in the market for Huawei. Also, the government agreement is going to help them. It's going to help them out to do their products and get a good position in the market. And the new technologies, they have to be in they have to keep, to stay in the market. They have to do all the things to get all the technologies which are very usable for these days for customers. And I'll talk about threats now. Threats are majorly lawsuits for everyone, all the companies. Lawsuits is a major threat for the companies. It can happen anytime. And growing strength of local distributors. They have to get control of the distribution, because if the local distributions are going up, so it's going to be a weak point for Huawei. And regular supply of innovative products, and changing consumer behavior, and rising pay level in China is a major threat for Huawei. And US government battles is a very main thing which affects our companies, all the companies in this market. And now I will hand it over to my colleague. He will give you the recommendations.
Following analysis carried throughout the rest of the report, we come into the recommendations, where through the micro-importers generic strategy, we know that Huawei adopts a cost leadership and differentiation strategy. They operate in a low-cost labor country, and some of the recommendations will be to implement or enhance their current strategies through joint ventures and acquisitions that will give them more market share, more market power, that will reshape their competitive advantage. Also, the improvements on market research to understand their customer better, as Apple and Samsung are doing, and investments in brand products. People nowadays, they want more quality products, so they're moving to that sector. Investments in new technologies such as 5G, IA, VR, and AR tech, which will engrand their customer base. Software improvements. In the recent years, they had some issues with their software, so improvements on that will be well seen by the customers. Better relation with other countries, which will break any barriers to enter into new countries easier. So, and moving on to the ANSOF matrix, one of the strategies that they could use will be to focus on market development and the expansion to new geographical markets, which is a lower risk thing, and the company's international profile will help them, and the complement of its domestic cost advantages, which give them some success over its competitors. They have the experience and the proven capabilities to succeed in new markets. They have the technologies that's needed, and they're doing investments in online platforms to get feedback and data analytics to new markets, and the Harmony OS system, which is their own software that they developed, but they're still working on it, and which will be good thing seen by new customers. And analyzing the recommendations through the SAFE model, we can see that Huawei has a financial support from the Chinese government that's allowing them to succeed in this recommendation. The company's international profile brand, they're very well known. The physical, human and financial resources which make them very unique in some things that they do. And the opening of new markets and government trade agreements, which will help them to get into new countries and overseas easier than before, and the technology that they use. So those are few things that analyzed through the SAFE model, and hope you enjoyed our presentation and you learned from it.